It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. It is time for the Greg Cherry Show. Greg Cherry alongside, well, nobody right now. Um, so Jeff told me about 15 minutes before the show started that he wouldn't be able to join until possibly later on in the show. So you just got me. So let's get some conversation going. I do want to have a programming note. So I will put that in here in just a little bit. Next Wednesday, there will be no episode of the Greg Cherry Show, but that is because I will be out of town. But we do have a special episode coming up as soon as I get the date right. And bam, there we go. Special episode Monday. This coming Monday, yes. October 17th at 7 o'clock Eastern, same time that we normally do it. We will be doing the Greg Cherry Show as a prelude to Monday Night Raw, as opposed to the prelude to AEW Dynamite. So that will be a fun time for everybody involved. What is going on in the chat? Josh Mansfield with the donation. There you go. Appreciate it, Josh, with the $5 donation. You got money, boy. I wish we had good football teams, boy. The AFC North is this year's dumpster fire. I don't get it. Like, the Ravens are leading the division, but they're only 3-2. I mean, the Bengals are 2-3. The Browns are 2-3. Steelers are a complete disaster at 1-4. I have no idea what the hell they're even going to do to come back from that. I know last week on the show, and I'm jumping all over the place, so I apologize. I said that I wasn't going to do a donation goal, but the more I thought about it, I wanted to do something that would be relatively embarrassing for me. So here you go. I guess I need the donation goal. October donation goal. So here it is. Not announced by anybody, but if we reach $500 by the end of October, which that $5 will count towards, Josh. If we reach $500 by the end of October, I'm going to do a full-blown Val Venus entrance, which means, like, in costume as well. So there's that. I couldn't think of anything else because we've done the eating one and nobody seems interested in that. The trivia one, yes, that one's still going to happen. Okay, I'm working on a lot of different things, working on the move and everything else like that. But the trivia gauntlet is going to happen at some point. It will really depend on who that 10th person ends up being. Regardless. So yeah, if we reach that monthly goal of $500, and it'll really tell me, it's like, hey, do you want me to embarrass myself? And for the record, like, if you get a wheel spinning, you land on entrance and you say, hey, do the Val Venus entrance, it won't be full blown. I'll still be fully clothed. So there's that too. So how badly do you want me to embarrass myself on this show is the question. So there you go. We're going to dive into some more wrestling and sports talk. I mentioned the AFC North. The Pittsburgh Steelers, I expected them to lose to the Bills. I expected them to lose to the Bills badly. I didn't know how badly it was going to go. It was just a disaster on the offensive side, on the defensive side, and even on the special team side. It was just nothing worked. And that was the worst beatdown the Steelers have had in, what did they say, 33 years? Since they got skunked by the Browns 51-0 in 1989. So it was probably amongst the second worst losses in my lifetime. That I didn't look back to 86 for the record. So I don't know how far that goes back, but it was just an ugly Ugly, ugly, ugly. Dwayne, the final score of the Steelers-Bills game was 38-3, Buffalo. And listen, I know Buffalo's good. Buffalo is my pick to go to the Super Bowl on the AFC side. NFC, I don't have a clue. I think it's still too early on the NFC side. Yes, I know the Eagles are undefeated. I know the Cowboys are playing well. The Giants are playing well. The NFC East turned it around from what they were 2 years ago. I mean, I was on this show making fun of the NFC East constantly, because they were an absolute garbage heap of a division. But this year, Commanders aside, the NFC East looks like the division of the NFL. Whether or not that stands remains to be seen, but I digress. I got to talk about this too, because the roughing the passer calls, both the one against Tom Brady in the game against the Falcons and the one that happened on Monday night. What are these defenders supposed to do exactly? Are we going to get to the point of playing flag football? Like, what do you want them to do? The Brady one was complete garbage. Like, you didn't even call a penalty when Tua was whipped to the ground and got concussed for the second time in a week. But because it's Brady, you call it on him. You call it on the Falcons. You screw the Falcons, who, quite frankly, Atlanta's not doing a ton this year so far, but they could have at least had an opportunity to have a drive that goes back. But no. A roughing the passer call, an undeserved one, gets 15 yards, gives the Bucs the ball for a first down, and essentially hands them the win. I don't know if reviewing roughing the passer calls is going to be anything other than, hey, the refs are just going to say we're going to review them, but hey, we're right. We know what we're doing. We know how to judge the game. I think that's the problem that happened with the pass interference calls. The referees didn't overturn anything. That they left bad calls hold up, and then calls that really shouldn't have been pass interference, they overturned. They say, hey, there was no pass interference here, but there should have been. Or that there wasn't a pass interference, there was none called, and then you call it anyway because somebody's got to investigate these officials, because I swear that they have money on these games. Like they're betting on these sports betting apps. They have them on their fantasy teams, whatever the case may be, because there is no excuse for some of these calls. Absolutely none. When former players are calling this out saying, hey, this is ridiculous. And even some of the commentators calling them out saying the same thing. I mean, there was no late hit penalty on Kenny Pickett twice on Sunday. But yet the Steelers get flagged for retaliation. It's absolutely ridiculous. Now, the Steelers weren't going to win that game. Let's face it. By the point that those penalties happened, the game was basically over. There was no way the Steelers were going to come back from a 35-point deficit at that point when they don't have any offensive touchdowns to their wide receivers in 5 games. 5 games. I watched a high school football team score more touchdowns in one game than the Pittsburgh Steelers, 6-time Super Bowl champion franchise, has in 5 games. And Josh, a wheel spin is $10 now. So if you donate another $5, I'll give you the wheel spin. I don't understand what is going on with the NFL, but these officiating calls are ruining the game. And yeah, Josh, knowing the Steelers are 1-4, like I kind of have the feeling of what it must be like to be a Browns fan. Granted, I've witnessed 2 Super Bowl wins in my life, but hey, but there are no redeeming qualities. This is the Ryan Howard of The Office teams in the NFL. 0 redeeming qualities. I just don't get it. There's a lot. So there you go. All right, Josh donated another $5. So we're going to get ourselves a wheel spin. Appreciate you, Josh. We're going to get you a wheel spin, and we're going to bring some enjoyment, because I know I rant a lot. I rant a lot. But you know what? This is part of the reason I enjoy college football more. Yes, there are some bad calls in college, but they are far less frequent than they are in the NFL. Some of these NFL referees, they got to be buddy-buddy with the players or something, especially Brady. My God, can somebody make that man retire? Can somebody please make Tom Brady retire? His wife couldn't, and she's leaving him. Like, how much more? It's like, oh, you love football, then go coach somewhere. Get out of the NFL. You're still making game-changing plays. You've been in the league for 76 years at this point. Just go away. You've won 7 championships. What more do you have to do? It's why I don't subscribe to the Wrestle Talk Patreon anymore. I won 9 Fan Quizlemanias. I don't need to win anymore. And plus, I'll tell you an exciting thing that's happening with college football this weekend, if you didn't already know. All right, so here we go. Josh, here is your spin. As soon as it comes up. There we go. All right, we will see what it lands on. Again, the trivia spots, the spots on Jote, the spots for the gauntlet, off the wheel. Not doing those anymore. We're just going to have a good time with what's on here. These are going to be exclusive to the Greg Cherry Show. Cool Brothers Radio Podcast, Spin the Wheel, Make a Deal. I think it's time to change Macho Time to Jake the Snake Time. Well, I don't have any snakes, but if you want me to cut a promo in the style of Jake the Snake, there is a choose an impression spot on the wheel. I think, yeah, I took out most of the Macho Times. I left one. So we will see what it lands on. Here we go. Maybe. Did it work? The wheel froze on me. So we will oh, now you're going. Oh, okay. I took it away and now it worked. So it is an entrance, Josh. So you get to choose whatever entrance you want me to do. So there you go. So this Saturday, I will actually be traveling to South Bend, Indiana, to watch Notre Dame play Stanford. I'm so excited. This will be the first time I have ever been to South Bend for a game. I'm really looking forward to it. I'm super excited about it. Like my dad has been to a game at Notre Dame Stadium before. I never have. I cannot wait to move. I don't know if any of you heard that, but there's somebody who comes up and down this lane and just revs his motor as much as he possibly can. The beautiful people. Okay. Oh, crying out loud, Josh. All right. Beautiful people entrance. Let me see if I can find their theme song. Let's see if I can find the right one. With the rope. Yeah, I know. I give the full experience. Let the pigeons loose, all that stuff. All right. All right, here we go. Beautiful people entrance. Doing the beautiful people entrance with a Cactus Jack shirt on seems I don't even know how to explain what I just did. But there you go. There you go, Josh. So yeah, anyway, I'm going to South Bend this weekend. Looking forward to Notre Dame picking up its fourth straight win. I'll be honest with you. I was not sure. I was not sure how I felt about this trip after the first two games of the season, but the Irish have won 3 straight. They've made me believe again. So there's still not going to be a national championship game because no team that has ever lost twice in the season has ever made the top 4. When they change the tournament to 12 teams and probably get rid of they have to get rid of the conference championships at that point, because at that point you're playing like 15, 16 games. So that would be ridiculous. Yeah, Notre Dame will probably make it as high as 5 if they continue winning. They still have undefeated USC and undefeated Clemson remaining this season. I'm pretty sure USC is still unbeaten. So let me see. Notre Dame schedule. Of course, BYU only had 1 loss. Oh, Syracuse is ranked 2. Lovely. USC is in fact unbeaten. I hope we're not in that period where USC is good again. Crying out loud. So yeah, they play Stanford, which I'll be at. They play UNLV in the following week, and then Syracuse on the 29th. Wonderful. And then on my birthday, they get Clemson. I just hope that they pull out the victory there. So yeah, I'm going to update this also, since Josh so lovely donated. Oh, great. My work computer restarted. Here we go. The October donation goal. We are, is that 2% there? Yeah, we are 2% of the way there for October, because we didn't have any donations last week. And of course, I didn't set a goal last week, so there you go. Jeff did mention that he did plan on being on later in the show, just in case you're joining us. And Josh, yeah, you're right. Jeff is either going to be jealous he wasn't here to see that, or thankful he wasn't here to have to take part in it. Yep, because I would have made him be Velvet. So there you go. I took the Angelina Love way because I took the easy way out. And yeah, Josh, I am too. I'll put this on screen if it's not up there already. Yeah, Jared and my show on Sportsmanlike, unfortunately, is no longer on. Well, that one was on Know Your News, but the football show that I did on Saturdays also got canned. It was a rough week for me because I lost both those shows in the same week. So I was that was hard. I lost on Sportsmanlike on Mondays, and I lost the Fightful football show just days later. It was rough. I still got this show, though. Can't cancel myself unless I want to. So I'm still here, fortunately. I left the Fightful thing in there because I feel like I can still represent Fightful. I've written an article for them, done shows with them, not just the football show, but I did the Spotlight, which you can check that episode out over on the Fightful channel. But we still got fun things going. I'm still trying to put together the teams for Jack of all trades. So we will, again, that won't come until the 24th that I announce what teams are going to be in it. So yeah, I still got a little bit, still waiting to hear back from some people. What else is going on? I forgot how hard it is to do this show by myself. That's why I always have a co-host. Not that I don't enjoy doing the show by myself. It's a good time. It is a good time. I always do like to have somebody to play off of that. So I appreciate those in the comments. And yes, Anthony, let the cherries loose as opposed to let the pigeons loose for the beautiful people entrance. That is correct. Let me put it this way, Josh. If you DM Andy Datson and you get him to agree to appear on Jack of All Trades, the live version of it, then I will include you both as one of the tag teams. So that is my responsibility. I don't reach out. I reach out to people to see if they're interested, but they have to find the tag team. They have to find the tag team partner and confirm that. That's my rule. If you want to be on the tag team one, you got to reach out to somebody and message them and confirm it with them. Because if they're good with it, then we'll go from there. Because that's why I did that with Jesse. Jesse got Will Washington. Fantastic choice. I did that with Cher. Cher got Jarrett. I did that with Jay Shell, and she ended up getting one of the guys from Late Night Grin, Joe Holbert. And of course, Matt and Sadie announced that they would be a tag team when Sat won the championship to begin with. So I like having the responsibility to be like, you can be on and you can choose your partner. It's like, I don't care who you choose. Just bring them on the show. We'll have a good time. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to have a good time on October 27th. Got an interview planned in 3 weeks' time. I'll provide more details with that, probably on the October 26th edition. I just want to confirm details with that person of who we're going to have on this show. It's going to be a chaotic time, and I'm going to explain that too, because the fact that Jen and I are moving is going to be really tough on this brand for a little bit, because there's going to be a lot of chaos. There might be a couple weeks where there won't be a Greg Cherry show. I don't know that for a fact. I know for a fact that I'm not doing a Jack of All Trades in November. There will be no Jack of All Trades in November. And that's because with the move happening and with Thanksgiving happening, there's just no time to do one. I'm also going on a vacation. I will not be here for like half the month of November. So just to keep everybody aware, I'm really excited for the move and to set up the new studio and to get everything set up over there, and hope that things are far less chaotic and far less noisy than they are down here, because these windows are thin as shit. So yeah, I might take a little bit of time away from the brand. If I can still do the shows, I'd love to do the shows, but just to give you a heads up, November 2nd is definitely going to be one, because as long as I still have that interview, the week after there won't be an episode. The week after that, there likely won't be an episode. I might do one Greg Cherry show in November, and then save the next one till after Thanksgiving. That might be what happens. Like, I might do one Greg Cherry show in the second, and then not do another one till November 30th. That might be the reality of the situation. I don't know that for a fact. I'm just spitballing. So let's talk about this. Bray Wyatt returned on Saturday. And of course, I was watching Notre Dame football, so I just caught the clips on Twitter. I heard Extreme Rules was a decent show, so I'll eventually have to go back and watch it. But Bray Wyatt's returned. He's apparently going to be exclusive to SmackDown, which is where he was prior to getting released. Well, no, he went to Raw because he had that weird-ass feud with Randy Orton. So I hope that the Triple H creative team does him justice. Because Bray is incredibly creative. Yes, a lot of it is dark. A lot of it is spooky or whatever the case might be. But creatively, he makes you feel. And that's what you want in a character. You want a character that makes you believe in them. Like, it gives you that... What's the term for it? It just escaped me. The suspension of disbelief. That's what I was trying to go to. Bray gives you that suspension of disbelief. Like he draws you in and like makes you listen to everything he's saying. It makes you believe it. And that's what a lot of characters these days are missing. Like if you don't feel included, if the fans don't feel included in what you're doing, then are you really doing anything? Who is going to be in Wyatt 6? We don't even know for a fact that the Wyatt 6 is going to be a faction. That's a lot of speculation at this point. And people have dropped names of potential people who may be in the group. I don't know. I couldn't even begin to assume. A lot of people said Liv Morgan. A lot of people said Liv Morgan, and some threw out Braun, and they threw out Karrion Kross and Scarlett, and I don't remember who else. I think Bo Dallas was another one that they threw out there. I mean, Bo Dallas and Bray Wyatt on the same side makes sense. They're brothers, so why not? And Josh says Bray Wyatt's return pop is greater than CM Punk's return pop. Here's the thing. CM Punk's return pop happened in Chicago. Can you really, like, is that fair? Because it's his hometown, and obviously a lot of CM Punk moments are going to happen in Chicago. It's not that big of a thing, his return to Chicago. And this is coming from somebody who had a reaction video on his channel about Punk returning. I probably should have had one for Bray, but again, I was watching football. CM Punk's was longer, but that's because, the show ended when Bray took off his mask and blew out the lantern. I'm glad I hope he does the gimmick without the mask. He may not be Eater of Worlds Bray Wyatt. He may be something different. But I think the Fiend, or at least I'm hoping the Fiend part is like one-offs. Like he does it once, maybe as like a Demon Balor type thing. He does it once in a while. It's not all the time. Yeah, watching the clip back, you could not hear Bray Wyatt. He spoke directly into the camera, and you couldn't hear it because the pop was loud. Yeah, that was insane to watch. Jack of All Trades is going to be Thursday, October 27th at 5 p.m. Eastern. That is the planned day for that. Normally it would have been the 20th, but I have plans on the 20th, so can't do a show when I'm not here. it's going to be an insane next like 5 weeks for me. So yeah, Jack of all trades is Thursday, October 27th at 5 o'clock Eastern, which would be 10 o'clock his time. I wouldn't think that would be a big of a deal because that works for Wrestle Talk also. So, hey Jeff, how you doing? It happens. Should I ask if you're going to be back the rest of the show or no? I'm probably not going to watch Crown Jewel on my birthday because I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff that day. I am probably going to be caffeinated to the gills on that day because we have an early morning flight out of Pittsburgh. But it's just crazy. Everything going on. Roman's going to beat Logan Paul. How? I don't know. I just don't see Logan Paul being the one to dethrone Roman. If Logan Paul is the one to dethrone Roman, I don't know how I feel about that. And what possible feuds could you have for him? Logan Paul's not going to be the guy. This will be Logan Paul's first loss in the WWE. I'd almost put money on it, but my sports betting track record is abysmal. So I won't actually put money on it. Nathan Banks is saying, should we even have Crown Jewel anymore? I understand the reasoning of the event, but it kind of feels cheap. Here's the thing. They have a 10-year Saudi Arabia deal worth a ton of money. And it would not benefit WWE at all, financially speaking. And maybe even some PR. As much as people don't like they hate the politics of the Saudis and all the stuff, all that stuff. That's not something you can control. It is a business decision. They run shows there. They don't help elect people. Let's stop that narrative. They run the shows there. They make their money. I know it was a Vince deal and he's gone now, but you can't just pull out of that because Vince isn't in charge anymore. You have to fulfill the terms of your contract. Because if you breach a contract, that could be way more costly than just letting it run out. Just let the 10 years run out. If they decide to renew it and pay a ton more money, that's why those shows get the big push that they do, is because those shows make them a lot of money, whether you watch it on the network or you don't, or you watch it on Peacock or you don't. So that they don't really have a choice. They're kind of locked in. If it was a 1 or 2 show deal and they just kept doing it by design, that'd be one thing. But they signed a 10-year, I don't even want to call it a rights deal, but it's a 10-year show deal that they do 1 or 2 shows every year. And they couldn't in 2020. They only had the one. And that was because of the pandemic. They really couldn't do another one. And they didn't go back to Saudi Arabia until earlier this year with Elimination Chamber. So now that they're doing Crown Jewel again, I don't like the idea of having a Saudi pay-per-view right before WrestleMania. But I mean, it did determine that Bianca was the number 1 contender to the Raw Women's title. Lesnar won his championship back in the Chamber. I'm still salty about the Royal Rumble. Okay. It's been 9 months since the Royal Rumble, and I am still salty about those booking decisions. Why in the world did you need both championships on the line? Part of me wonders, I don't know the validity, and maybe this is just conspiracy theories out there, but do you think Roman really had COVID? Or do you think it was a booking decision on WWE's part to say, hey, we're going to put the title on Lesnar and then we're going to go to unify the championships at WrestleMania? And they were like, how's the best way to get there? Well, you couldn't have Lesnar lose at day one to Roman, because then how would you do that? You know, you had to have Lesnar get the WWE championship somehow. And now that he's back, now that Lesnar's back, it doesn't look like he's in a title feud, which has been a long time since Brock Lesnar has been in a feud, not for a championship. I mean, let's look back. 2016, he had Dean Ambrose, and then he had Orton in 2016. He had the Goldberg feud, which eventually led to the title, and then he was champion for a year and a half. Won the title back in Saudi Arabia from Strowman because it was vacated. Then held it till WrestleMania, where he lost it to Rollins. Won Money in the Bank. I guess that might not technically count as a title feud, but he gets a title shot. Won the title back from Seth. Lost it to Seth. Beat Kofi. We know how that went. Held it till he lost to Drew. Didn't come back for the rest of the pandemic period, and then came back at SummerSlam challenging Roman, and it was just Roman every time that he faced him. So this is the first non-title feud because Lashley's not U.S. champion anymore. It's kind of a nice change of pace. How Triple H books his first Rumble matches will be how many fans will judge and rate his success thus far. I am excited for Triple H booked Rumble matches. Last year's Rumbles were dog shit. If you watched my rankings of the matches, the men's Rumble this year was in my bottom 10. The women's Rumble, I think, just escaped the bottom 10, but it wasn't much higher than that. Neither one of them were good Rumbles. And you know what? I'm going to blame the music production on it too. Because if you don't recognize theme songs, and a lot of people did not recognize theme songs if you don't have a recognizable entrance theme, how is anybody supposed to react to you? Honestly. Like, I grew up in an era where I could tell you every single person's entrance theme that came out. And even as a wrestling trivia guy, like, nowadays, if you play a lot of modern themes, I probably couldn't tell you who they were. Because I haven't really watched weekly TV in a while. I watch Dynamite, but WWE TV, I occasionally catch Raw. I don't remember the last time I watched SmackDown. Don't remember the last time I watched NXT. And I watched most of Clash at the Castle. And it's getting harder to watch the weekly shows. And yes, I know the creative side is different now with Triple H. And unfortunately, Josh, I don't think Jim Johnston's the answer because Triple H didn't like Jim Johnston. I don't know if he's loosened that or lessened that anymore since becoming an executive. But when he was WWE champion in the early 2000s, he did not care for him. That's why he went out and got Motorhead to do his entrance theme. Because he didn't care for any of the entrance themes he got from Jim Johnston. A lot of us liked him, but he didn't. What can you say for people's preferences? What else? Triple H didn't like Justin Roberts either. Weirdly enough, I could see that. All right, so I'm going to throw it out there for the Wednesday Q&A. If you have questions, let me know. I'm trying to see if I have any videos that I can play. I don't know. One of these days we should do a watch along of something. Yeah, I don't have any interesting videos that we can watch. Nothing on the GOAT side either. Hey, look, it's orange. Yeah. Go back. Yeah, we're going to get your Wednesday Q&A. Match of the year in WWE so far. Match of the year in WWE. Bianca Becky. That's something else I want to bring up. I ran a poll earlier today, and yeah, Josh, I'll tell him. I ran a poll earlier today, and it's something that I'm very interested in the results of. Now, the results won't be determined until sometime tomorrow, but I asked, what was the better women's match? Bianca versus Sasha at WrestleMania 37 or Bianca versus Becky at WrestleMania 38? And so far, with 71% of the votes, Bianca and Sasha is winning that poll. And there's still like 17 hours left on the poll. But I think that's going to be something I do every week for the Greg Cherry Show. I'll make it a discussion point. So far, with the poll results, I agree. I agree that Bianca versus Sasha was the better overall match. Brett said it was a better moment, but Becky and Bianca was a better match. I disagree. I think Bianca and Sasha took both of those. I just think that Bianca and Sasha's match was absolutely flawless. And the only fault I saw in it was something that they didn't even do. It was Michael Cole on commentary. I noticed that there were a couple points in Bianca versus Becky that weren't as smooth as they were with Bianca and Sasha. And I was heavily nitpicking because Bianca and Sasha to me was just so damn good. I'm not saying Bianca versus Becky was not good. It was fantastic. It was an incredible match. But I think Sasha and Bianca edged them out. Again, personal opinion, and I will throw more opinions out there. And we'll do that as a weekly segment. The weekly poll on the Greg Cherry Show. Yeah, Jeff, you missed Josh requesting the Beautiful People entrance. So I did the Angelina Love part. So if Josh donates again and we're both on the show, you'll have to do the Velvet Sky part. So there you go. Question, how would you book the men's and women's War Games matches for Survivor Series? Well, it looks like Damage Control is going to be at least 3 members of one side. You figure Bianca and possibly Candice LeRae on one side. I'm not sure how necessarily you would book them. You figure that the men's is likely going to be the Bloodline versus a group of baby faces, whether that's Drew and Riddle and a couple others that you might throw in there. Kevin Owens. Maybe that's where it could be. It could be AJ and Gallows and Anderson. But if they're feuding with the Judgment Day, like it's too confusing. You don't want to get like a WCW 98 War Game situation where you have 3 different teams. That's just chaotic. course, I guess they did a 3-team one in NXT, so all bets are off, I guess. Yeah, you know what? Do that. Do the Bloodline versus Judgment Day versus AJ Styles, Gallows Anderson, Kevin Owens. 4-on-4-on-4. Oh, wait, Ripley's in there. Damn it. I guess you can't do that. Never mind. I mean, you could go completely chaotic and do a 14 War Games, but that seems even more insane because you could do Dominic. You could do Dominic, Balor, and Priest. You could do AJ, Gallows, and Anderson as the second team. You could do any three of the, like between the Usos, Sammy, and Solo, any three of those. And then you get, I guess you go Owens, Edge, and Drew as a fourth possible team. I'm overbooking. I have no idea what they'll do. Women's one seems pretty cut and dry that it's going to be Bailey, Io, and Dakota on one side, plus one other person against the baby faces. So it'd be Bianca, Candice, possible, and I don't know. Scott Gutta, he's going to be in the gauntlet. Good to see you again, sir. How about an intergender war games? Judgment Day versus Edge, Rey Fenix, and somebody else. I mean, that's possible. Like, I wouldn't mind that. I don't know who the last person would be unless it was AJ Styles. I mean, granted, Gallows and Anderson are back. But you could do Edge, Rey, AJ, and Beth. So that's very possible. Thoughts on Roger Goodell wanting to expand to 40 teams? What some say is you want to see with a team. Go Irish, baby. Yes. And Greg Cherry for Quizomania 2. Run it back. That's the tagline now. Run it back. Listen, it's chaotic already with 32 teams. They don't need 8 more. They don't. Because that's going to be a lot of teams. Like, at that point, that's way too much. It's way too much. 32 teams, I think is plenty. Especially because 7 of them make the playoffs on each side. So 14 teams. That's still less than half the teams make the playoffs. I just don't see. I don't see the need to expand 8 more teams. That is a lot of money to go around. But if they did expand, where else could you go that would house a football franchise? Because at that point, just include all the teams in the XFL. If you're going to expand to 40 teams. Or make the XFL the NFL's farm system. Something. You don't need 40 professional football teams. It's too much. Too much. And I understand why they would want that, because then they could put another team in each division. But do you want 8? Do you want a 5-team division for? Yeah, way too much. Personal opinion. But yes, go Irish. I will be in South Bend on Saturday. And Greg Cherry for Quizomania 2. Run it back. And yes, Judgment Day did get that nuclear heat. And that's good. You know, I think ever since the inclusion of Dominic Mysterio, that the Judgment Day has truly taken off and truly shown that the heel heat that they can get. It's good. Like, they were kind of floundering there for a little bit, trying to find some something to just stand on to like. And ever since Dominic got added, I think it's been great. I think the Judgment Day has avoided being a flop. Jeff, that'd be great if there weren't multiple states with multiple NFL teams. You got Florida, you got California, you got New York, you got Pennsylvania, you got Ohio. I mean, so many teams, so many states already have multiple teams. I think my head would just, they would have to go to a collegiate system at that point where you just rank the teams as opposed to having divisions and stuff. If you have that many teams, it's just absurd. Do you see now that the Good Brothers are back? Do you see Balor jumping to the club and we get those four as a new stable and they take the tag titles from the Usos and maybe a New Japan WWE partnership now? I don't want to see Balor jump to the club. I think he's doing good with the Judgment Day. And plus, like, do you really just want to recreate the Bullet Club in WWE? Like I know that that's what they're doing with AJ Gallows and Anderson, but they've done that twice already. So that's nothing new there. I would leave Finn a part of Judgment Day. They're not going to be the ones to take the tag titles from the Usos. But the New Japan and WWE partnership possibly could happen. That might ruin AEW's Forbidden Door, but I don't know how long New Japan's partnership with AEW is going to last. This monarchist royalist wants to know what coat of arms is on that flag behind you. That's the Pennsylvania flag, which has virtue, liberty, and independence, hence the hand sign. So that's what's represented on that flag back there. And Nate says, I remember months back reading an article about Judgment Day going to main event to feud with Rey Mysterio. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm very hopeful for the Triple H era of creative, because Vince gave up on things at a moment's notice. And he didn't care really what happened. It's just one week he was feeling it, the next week he wasn't, and it was just chaotic. So watching the shows play out as they did was a look into the chaotic mind of Vince McMahon and what chaos it was. And yes, you do see a pupper. He's laying down right now. Huh, Bangers? You want to come up here? You want to come up here on the show? Come here. Come here. Come on. There's a Bang. Hi, Bang. How you doing? How you doing? Hey, say something into the mic. Use a bubber. Yes, Jeff, I did see that Renee is, in fact, All Elite. I'm surprised they didn't wait until she was on the show, but maybe they didn't have any major buildup for her. So that's my guess. Why? Hi, buddy. Yes, he's the best puppy in the world. We love our little nugget, even if he drives us nuts. Say something into the mic. Why? Yeah. Hey, Daddy will join you downstairs so we can watch wrestling together, okay? Don't bite the microphone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think that's going to do it for this edition of the Greg Cherry Show. We thank you very much for joining us. Next Monday, I'm going to put it back up there again. Oh, yep. Yep. I'll see you downstairs. Next Monday, I'm going to put it up there. A special episode, 7 o'clock Eastern. We will be joining you for the Greg Cherry Show because I will not be here next Wednesday. I will be going up out of town to hopefully go play Wheel of Fortune. Fingers crossed. It's a live show. It's not the actual TV show, but that should be fun. So that is what the plan is next week. And then we will be back. And then we will be back to the regular rotation the following week. So thank you all for joining us for the Greg Cherry Show. We will be back again on Monday. I'm going to leave that banner up. That banner up right there. Special episode Monday, October 17th at 7 o'clock Eastern. Join us then for the Greg Cherry Show. And Jeff will be back for that one for sure, he says. And we thank you very much for joining us. And we will see you next time right here on the Greg Cherry Show. Have a good one.